Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sprawl. It's cyber time in the distant pretend future. So, legwork. You have the opportunity to make your legs work and to get some advantage moving into the job. I mean, right now, you could just go do it. With the legwork clock being where it is, it'll mean that if you succeed, you'll get paid. But with legwork where it is at 1 right now, you've got some room to faff about to try to get yourself some intel and what have you.
I'm planning to use one of. Well, keep in mind that like the empty spaces is how much we get plus on the roll to get paid.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the more empty spaces, the more chance we get paid.
So when does the legwork clock advance? When we fail a move?
Yeah, I get to advance it. It's interesting because when I was reading the game, I was like, okay, yeah, so it's in response to like failed moves or response to moves generally. But it's not a currency. Like we don't spend it. It's not like it goes up every time someone acts. So you get to kind of push your luck as you go.
Yeah.
But failure can
Failure is a great motivator.
Yeah, it'll push it up forward. So as the legwork clock goes up, so too the action clock goes with it sometimes, further you go along. So let's start with you, Flamingo. I know you have a thing you want to do.
My goal is to contact one of my people that I know. So I have a move called I Know People.
Okay.
And it allows me to introduce a contact once permission, say what they do, and then roll style, and there's a whole thing. I'll broadcast it.
Yeah, can you broadcast that move?
There you are.
Now everybody gets the ability to create contacts on your own. You can do this. You don't have to be the fixer. And if you do, you can then follow up by hitting the street to go to your contact for help. But it's a little bit different of a move from the one that I Know People is. So let's talk to me, Elf. What is get narrative here? What does Flamingo do? You leave the bar.
I leave the bar and I'm immediately like using my cybercoms to like sort of like, you know, my eyes go blank for a bit as I'm like flicking through my Rolodex, probably like on the street, you know. And I'm you know, navigate the drop downs to the appropriate Disney Bezos folder from when I used to work for Freyr, because my cybercoms are Freyr cybercoms.
Yeah, so the whole time in your cybercom UI, we have the little like the sword through the Y like logo hovering in the corner. Everything in this slightly runic font. The OS.
It's very like old Nordic, you know.
The corporate OS is very like built on that structure for sure.
So
oh, did you bring your security detail?
I can't, according to not being able to roll my hustling, I can't, because my drones are determinant upon whether or not the protection job goes well.
Ah, perfect.
I am the security detail.
Yes. All right. So QQ is like right there with you. All
right. So I'm standing there kind of like phased out, going through my UI, and I get to the Disney Bezos like section. And I know a bunch of people who are sort of like middle managers, you know, like people that I would have met with to like negotiate, like, well, you know, your security needs better guns and we can provide you with better guns or training or whatever. These kind of people, because that's what I used to do. I used to be like a Freyr sales rep, basically. And these are the kind of people who might have access to schedules and routing and that kind of thing. I don't have a name for this person, sadly. Hang on while I determine what their name is going to be. Unless you have one, in which case I will.
I can roll. We can roll.
Please do.
Yeah, why don't you do the move as Adam comes up with the name?
Okay.
Because you need to roll anyway.
I will know people.
You have to do the
I have to
style.
Do the style. Yeah, you're right. No, I'm on forward. So that's an 11.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So I've worked with them before.
Talent.
They have talent. Write them down as a contact, whoever they end up being.
Okay, let's see. Okay, her name is Mildred Lacey.
Okay.
Mildred Lacey. Lacey. And and so she's a She's a scheduler at Disney Bezos, so it's her job to find people that have gaps in their schedule and fill them. And so she has access to people's schedule and locative data. She works in dispatch. She's part of, I guess, technically human resources.
So immediately I call her up on the cybercoms.
Okay, well let's see. So what's the 11 means? You've
It means
worked with them before.
I've worked with them before. They have talent, and I get to add them as a contact, basically. Okay. So I've added them to the contact section of my sheet. Mm-hmm. This is a person who is basically like who I have negotiated with before, probably when I worked for Freyr. I can't imagine like while I've been independent, I've talked to her. Mm-hmm. But you know, corporate liaisoning and all.
Okay. So I think
I'm interested to see the angle here.
She used to work in like extra corporate acquisitions. So like part of the resource management team. So you worked with her to like organize cells of personnel and programs. But she's moved to HR since, but you still have contact information for her.
So upon calling her, I imagine there's some sort of like Disney hold
ringtone.
Like It's a Small World plays like in my head, you know.
Can we just say that that's done? Can we just have It's a Small World not be a thing anymore, please?
Every episode is just gonna get stuck in your head. It's okay. Not every job will be against Disney. We'll have some other things to talk about. So you're just like walking down the street where you're having this phone call?
just like once I've got her on like the connection is up, I'm just kind of walking back to, you know, somewhere I can catch a bus or, you know, what have you.
Yeah, there's trains, right? There's a subway system that moves you around the Sprawl. Yeah, I guess you'd be headed for one of those. So you step outside and it's immediately like wind and blowing snow.
Yeah, pull my jacket.
The doors all slide instead of push because they'll get blocked by snowbanks. So it slides out of the way and a bunch of snow like tumbles onto your boots as you step outside, pulling your jacket around you. Yeah, like you need like near Arctic cold weather gear to be outside. So the two of you have like big puffy coats or whatever as appropriate to your style. What is QQ? What does your cold weather gear look like?
I imagine, I have this like super big puffy with like the big fur-lined hood, but I don't really like it. It's short. It's like has an elastic waist, and so I'm just wearing like tights underneath. So I have like big puffy torso and like little skinny legs.
Yeah, I like it.
And I have like massive boots with like hella buckles and like, you know, a knife jammed in them or whatever. It's not a real knife. It just makes me look tough.
Flamingo's is as like streamlined as she can make it in terms of like her jacket looks like maybe it isn't quite warm enough, but it's more suited to like her style, you know, suffer for your look. And like black, lots of black, basically.
I approve. Okay, cool. I'm just making some details about Mildred here.
In contrast with the pink hair.
Cool.
Which is like someone we know, but you know.
All right.
I can't help but draw comparisons.
All right. So Mildred is an American. She's on a megaplex work visa, so she's local in the sense that she's in the same metropolitan cluster as you. And so you call up her office and eventually are put through to her. Eventually the chorus ends. Now, in the anime of this campaign, this would be just like in Ghost in the Shell, right? We hear her talking and we hear your voice, but you're just like impassive, like your face.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
like there's
sub-vocalizing.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like the Kusanagi like talking in your head.
And it sounds like you're talking into a
tube. Yeah.
Totally. Okay. So Mildred Lacey comes on the other line, and When was the last time you talked to her? Does she still think you work at Freyr? I guess she wouldn't because your intro glyph or whatever for her comms wouldn't. It would show just your own personal information.
Like independent rather than like Freyr, because record wise, I'm struck from the list. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably like a year or two. I imagine that Flamingo's been independent for a little while now. So probably like at least a year or two since I last spoke to her.
Okay. Yeah. So she responds appropriately then. So she's like, Erica,
Mildred, a pleasure.
it's been so long. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, dear, just fine. I was hoping you might help me with something, actually.
Well, right to the point, aren't we? No, how's the kids? How's the wife? None of that?
Well, you know, I don't want to waste your time, as you have quite a lot to do, I imagine, at the new post.
Still got that spin. Yeah, of course. I'm real busy. Not too busy to have a short conversation with you. We should get coffee.
Would you like to meet up? We can talk in person.
You can hear her, like, she does that thing where, and I guess this would become more and more normal. She does that thing where she just stops talking for a second, right? Like long pauses become more normal in conversation when people are doing other things.
Yeah,
and
I mean, she's busy like talking to someone in person right now.
Yeah, or like you just hear the long pause. That means she's checking some other piece of software, probably her schedule.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, I'd love to. How's 6 weeks? And I think that in your comms, a bunch of like potential, like a little like
Yes.
calendar pops up with like some potential options in like November.
I'll tell you what, I would love to meet up and have some coffee in 6 weeks, but this is a little more urgent. I'm going to need, you know, a more immediate response. We can talk later. You know.
Do you accept one of her like meeting?
Yeah,
invites?
I you know, like, boop, like.
Yeah, okay. One of them turns from like orange to green, and then the calendar like disappears.
Yeah. What I need to know is where Alice Prime is going to be taking her routes.
And it's like, it's a pause, and this isn't a, I'm doing something else pause. This is a, wait a second, hold on, pause. And she says, now, how do you know about that?
I have my ways, and I may be a former employee of Freyr, but I still do contract work for them now and then.
There's a faint click in the line, and then a series of like familiar sounding additional noises. She doesn't hear any of them, but you get a little warning that's like monitoring detected, and then a little countdown, a little like hourglass flips over, and then it turns green, and it's like encryption enabled.
Good. And with me working for them occasionally, they've instructed me to speak to you about this because they don't want to run into the, you know, what would you call it, escort with accidental, you know, training drones or any kind of deployment that might be happening security-wise around the city. It would be preferred if we knew the routes so that we could preempt any accidents that might cross your path.
Okay. So you want her to believe that are you implying you're like still contracting with?
Yeah, like basically,
okay.
like I don't work for them, but I'm still doing work for them.
Right.
Of.
Yeah. You've given up your employment for a contract position, you're like freelancing. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's have you roll your style. Roll to hit the street.
Hell yeah.
She's a contact, and what you want is the route. You want to know when Alice's itinerary.
I want to know like intel. You know, like
well, intel's a different thing. You can get that on top. This is
okay.
the thing you're actually asking her
for. Here we go then.
Yeah.
7.
Yep. All right. So on a 7 to 9, you choose 2 from the list below.
Of the hit street list.
Yeah, you're gonna get what you want, but you're gonna have to choose.
Let me see. Sorry, I'm just grabbing the move here. Hit the street. Okay, so 7+. I get what I want and choose 2. Gonna cost extra. Gonna take some time to put together. Attract unwanted attention, or your contact needs you to help them out with something. Contact needs to help him out with something is fine. We'll do that because she's gonna ask me to do something for Disney Bezos, and that's fine. And I guess unwanted attention is probably the other one.
Okay.
Because there is this monitoring happening, right?
Yeah. So it's not like they're immediately like, hey, something bad is going on, but they're like, wait a second, this call we're not encrypting this call, and somebody else is, and that's a warning sign for Disney Bezos. So I'm gonna bump the legwork clock up by 1, and so she's gonna ask you for something. So I think she says, yeah, okay. So she says to you, she's like, I think I can get that for you. We wouldn't want anything to happen. Those red suits are nasty folks. And besides, with a prime in play, never hurts to be a little careful. And you can see she's starting to like feed you some information. You're getting a set
there's
of
like
schedules.
like a display.
Yeah, and now she's not able to grab the actual like path, but what she can do is she can cross-reference all of the red suits and Alice Prime and whatever their schedules, because she has access to that data. So she just cross-references them all and then gives you a list of places and times where everyone will be present.
So like the only way they could get there is like through these various ways.
Yeah. So it's like like all the different like contracted points of origin. So when they're supposed to arrive, it's their itinerary essentially, and that'll give you information you can draw from.
And that would be you didn't choose it costs more, right?
Nope.
So it says useful information from a contact is 1 cred.
Yeah.
So you'd have to give her
Yeah, I'll pay her 1 cred.
Yeah, I think that was like the assumed. There's somewhere in there is a very polite like invoice.
Yeah.
And and then so as the call ends, she says to you, she's like, you're someone who knows people. I need you to do me a favor.
Oh.
And she says, I've been having some trouble. My brother-in-law. We have a restraining order, but he just keeps bothering the kids. And you get a picture of this guy, and he's a let's take a look. Let's see what this picture of this guy looks like. He's some deadbeat. He's let's see. He is he's Mongolian. Cool.
Nice.
And cool. Yeah. So he's a Mongolian. He's got like ritual like scars on his face. And he's wearing you can see him in this picture. He's wearing a like a weather resistant coat, and on the back of one of his cyber arms, he has a the like Krug logo. He's like an obvious like former or current Leviat worker.
Okay.
So she's like, this is my brother-in-law. He's just come back from the Leviat. He keeps bothering the kids. We don't want him anywhere near them, but maybe someone you could have a word with him. Just convince him to leave us alone.
Oh, I know a few people. I'll get right on that. Thank you.
Cool.
It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you in 6 weeks. Like, turn the call off.
Okay.
And I turn to QQ, and immediately there's that same guy, that like mugshot of that guy or whatever, like the picture of the Mongolian fellow, like transmitted, like.
And while this whole conversation's been going on, I've just been kind of like ushering you around, and I've taken you into like a shopping mall.
Yeah.
I am like, as you're turning to me and taking notice of me, I'm holding up these cat ears, a little headband,
Right.
like more of a Cheshire cat, and I like put them on your head and like, okay, so this guy needs to die, and I just like dismiss the picture, like that was for later.
Yes, I suppose the Cheshire cat does suit me a little better.
I'm sorry for talking about the rabbit. Definitely a cat person.
Yes.
And then I'm like in AR, I'm like drawing little whiskers onto it. It's like, Boss looks cute as a cat.
Just trolling me.
Well, and I think so. Here's the thing. So this is a good like cut over to Cathode. or to Neat. I think because Cathode, you have a move you need to make, but
Yep.
that image of Flamingo with the ears and the little thing, we see that, and then we get one of those like camera tricks where the camera pulls back and it's not the thing anymore. It's an image in your like social media feed, like
Yeah,
whatever, like in your
Yeah.
Snapchat.
That
Yeah. So Cathode, you have a little like boop, it like pops up. You have a notification.
Oh yeah, I've definitely like
Cute.
got notifications for all of
Posting
your
things.
guys' social media.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so mine is I go back to my place that I live in.
So yeah, where do we see you? Are you already in your place? Are you coming into the building? I want to give you some room to describe your location. Are you still on the train? Like what's the where do you get that message? When we pull out, where is Cathode?
I feel like Cathode is I mean, the way I described, like she's very recently left Disney Bezos, and part of her like termination contract was that they gave her like a nice place to stay at. So she's like very far separate from where I'm assuming the rest of you guys probably like bunker down, unless
we have
you
some
also
dingy hideout somewhere.
unless you also
live-
have
I live
Yeah,
somewhere nice, not like you dirtbag.
Yeah, that's what
We've
I'm
got
saying.
like a corrugated metal, you know, like
I picture us having some, like warehouse or something that we
Yeah.
operate out of.
So I am probably still on a train because it takes a while to get from the like grubby neon bar with the crappy AR overlay that we had a like secret meetup at to like the nicer areas, or maybe it's like a lift of some sort, like going upwards. And I don't think that in this entire time, I don't think Cathode's like path ever goes outside.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't even have a coat with her because she never intended to like go into the outdoors. And
Yeah.
so she's just like, she's got B following her like transport. It's not actually like in the thing. But it's like always doing like analysis. So it's always like picking up like random information, and the program just like sorts through and pretty much just discards anything that's not valuable, but that's just what she has it doing. And she is on her phone just all the time. So she's looking at like the images and like pulling up like different social medias from her former like team members. Well, actually her former team members were all kidnapped from her like peripheral Disney team members, and she's like feeling really nostalgic, and she's looking through to see if she knew anyone closely who followed Alice, like as the person that they associated with.
Right.
Because I feel like any live streamers that lived in the Magic Kingdom, they lived in a certain like portion of it, and they followed like a certain group of or singular Disney cast member, as like they were regular exceptional humans. They weren't like
Yeah.
cast members, but they followed this type of
Yeah. Well, I mean,
lifestyle.
that's part of, there's all these like quizzes you can take and stuff to be like, which princess are you? And
Yeah.
the people will associate certain broadcasters with personalities from media, right? It's like, oh, you're such a mega man. Like these are things that just like happen because people associate the archetype with the person. So you're looking for, you want to make a contact that
Yeah, I'm looking for someone that I knew from the Magic Kingdom who
was
followed out.
on the Alice path. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so like that's what I'm doing while I'm like scrolling through my social media, and then like we see like the alert like come up on my AR, like this QQ just posted a photo, and like it's that picture, and I just like brush it away. I'm just like, great.
Yeah, and I think as you do, like you're approaching your house, you brush the thing away, and we see behind you, like we're watching your face, and in the background in AR, a huge like sword, like a huge like robot sword, like cuts through the hallway, and like there's fire and explosions, and then a bunch of like skeleton like ninjas kind of pour into the hallway, and they're fighting this giant robot.
It's so Nintendo, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and as you walk away, they just kind of like come apart, and you walk through a big like like glaring red ad for some new VR show where robots and ninja fight each other, but you don't really notice. You just walk through it and it kind of like comes apart like a
Robots and ninja skeletons.
yeah, ninja skeletons and robots. It's part of an ongoing series about giant robots fighting things.
Yeah, so I would have gotten off the like uplift and like passed through a horizontal lift on the way to like some sort of like block of housing that is all Disney Bezos. Like this is literally the place where they send the people that they're like cutting off. Like all of these people are just like trying not to be super depressed about the fact that they just lost their magical kingdom. And so it's very stylized and it's like on purpose, like light colored and like cloud like, almost given like an image of like, hey, like this is very like pseudo afterlife imagery.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the elevator has like gold like gate kind of look on it. All the buttons on the elevator are outlines of various like Disney characters silhouettes. So like you're not on the 5th floor, you're in Goofy block. So you press the button and it takes you to your
and
space.
Nobody ever talks about what happens to the people when their sublet is over.
Yeah, they just go away.
Nobody says anything about it. We don't like never mention it. So like whatever, like I think I'm still in like the Bell like block. And so I have like a workshop attached to my area, but I've definitely messed with it. I've definitely changed it up because I stole my drones back. Like they didn't give them to me. And so like I have like a system where I don't ever like bring the drones into the block, but I'll like bring stuff out and like fiddle with it and then go and like attach it.
I mean, you could have a room that you've set up as like a Faraday cage where they
Can I have said that?
Sure. Yeah. There's a room in which the Disney Bezos doesn't know exists. They think that it's been like maybe you paid someone to change the architecture plans for the building in the past, and you've got this room that Disney doesn't know exists. You've just set it up as like a Faraday cage so they can't get at it.
I did that, and I put my drones in there, and I love them, and they're great. And so that's where I'm going to roll my storage thing.
All right, let's do it.
So it's after receiving a job, I can look through all of my parts and supplies for equipment that might help with the current mission. So I would roll mind for that.
Yep.
And get a
12.
Fucking great roll there. So that means I get 3 gear relevant to my mechanic stuff.
Yeah, so you don't have to spend that gear now. You just have 3 uses of gear that has to be related to your expertise. Has to be related to drones or whatever, right? Mechanics.
Well, it could be the motorcycle. It could be like any kind of
mechanical thing, and you can just tell me later. So basically, we see you walk through this long hallway, and I think that as you approach your house, all of the hallways in this block, their AR has been tuned in preparation for Alice Prime's promotional visit. So there are clustered along the sides. There are like little colorful mushrooms that kind of sway as you walk past them. There are little flowers that like sing to you as you walk by, and then they like whisper and giggle about you as you leave. And they say specific stuff about your like branded appearance. So like if you're wearing a coat of a particular brand, they'll like giggle about the color of your, Nike coat, and
they'll make references as to like what was it? They like the color a weed, right? They call Alice a weed. So like they compare everything you're wearing to some kind of like genus or species of plant.
And then you walk up to the door, and normally your door is just like a sheet of plastic and it just slides out of the way, but it's the AR overlay is like a ornate looking wood, and there's a little like door handle that like says hello to you when you arrive, and the door slides out of the way, and then you step into your apartment, and then you
little knocker with a face on it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it makes like a sort of silly like voice when you grab it, like, what are you doing? And you like open the door, and it slides out of the way. But then it's like night into day, right? Like you step out of the Alice hallway into your own place, and then your AR kicks in, your own personal skin for your place.
I think it's all like softly golden, and like there's an overlay of like, because it's Belle, so there's an overlay of bookcases on the wall that don't actually exist, and the books aren't real, but if you were to like press on one, it would come up in your
totally.
So like all of that is just like soft yellow light comes in through the windows, even though outside it's completely gray.
There's like the faint sound of someone playing an accordion in a courtyard that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
exactly.
Cool. Okay.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's it. I go up to my apartment and I think that I'm probably like halfway through whatever like 6-month sublet I had.
Oh my
So,
God.
like,
So
there's a
the
tiny little-
amount of time that you have left in this apartment is directly measured by a slowly decaying rose in a glass somewhere in the AR. And you're just like every time you come home, you see it, and like just there's one more
A
petal.
single
just,
petal
it's like-
dramatically
Yeah.
falls.
just
Yep.
to remind you, your time is almost
Oh.
up.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah. So like I go in and like the first thing, like very like there's this artificial, like, what is it, God beam or something,
Yeah.
like on the rose, and like yeah, it's just like one petal like softly like falls down to the bottom, and like I get this whole like
Mhm.
look on my face before I go and do
Yeah, and then when you go into the Faraday cage, though, you can't have AR in here, so it's just like it's the most real space in that it's just a box where you keep your drones, and then also all of your stuff. So the walls are like cluttered with tools, and all of this like real space, gritty, like fluorescent lit, you know.
and I bet it's super weird.
Yeah, totally.
Like having nothing, like the AR just like stutters for a second, like you see the yellow light for just a second and then it shuts down and it's just like this blinking like fluorescent,
Yeah.
and it takes a minute to get used to actually using your eyes without your like implant like working on everything you're seeing.
Yeah, totally. Well, when you come in and pull the chain to turn the light on, we probably get a close up of. Are your eyes natural or cybernetic? They're natural, right?
They're natural.
Yeah. So we just get a close up of your eyes, and your pupils just go, and then like pinhole because your AR turns off when you walk into the cage. Cool. Okay. So let's cut over to Neat. I want to know what Neat is doing to prepare while you're digging through your stuff, Cathode, getting all these this equipment. What are you up to, Neat?
All right. Well, I've decided that my part of this job is going to be as the driver. So, I at some point during that spoke to Flamingo and got access to her motorbike, which I don't know how much of this has to be physical or how much of it doesn't, but I'm going to take it to a contact of mine, who is the cosplay specialist, because I need to get this motorbike done up with like to look like a rabbit, not like fully like one, but just like it needs to be like white. It needs to have like kind of ear bits
The
on
puffy
it. It needs to
tail.
be
The puffy tail.
Yeah, it
Oh,
needs a
my
tail
flashy
on the back.
motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it's going to
I'm
be AR,
assuming
how
it
much of
could
it's going to
be
be
AR.
physical, but yeah, I need a cosplay specialist. I definitely know one of those.
Okay. All right. So you want to establish a contact?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like they'll be able to help in whatever sort of infiltration we do in the future.
Okay.
Side note: it is flashy. Flashy is the descriptor.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna change like the neon trails to be like pink and stuff. It's gonna be so good.
I mean, I'm okay with
Super into
pink.
it.
Okay.
Okay, so the move I want to be making after we design this is hit the street, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna come up with a name for your.
Oh, the rims look like pocket watches. Yeah, thanks, chat.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Legit.
spinners, instead of being like paired, they're like the hands of a clock, so they're rotating at different speeds. But they have
Yeah.
So your contact's name, unless do you have a name for them, or can I give you one?
Nah, go for it.
Okay, your contact's name is Mitsubishi semicolon. And they got a thing for vehicles. They've got a thing for like kitting out vehicles. They're a vehicle tech of some kind, and they do a combination of like actual physical work. They're not a mechanic; they're like an engineer, and then they also do AR styling for vehicles.
Cool.
Yeah. They just finished doing all of the vehicle work for a like a Hong Kong like a pop group that went on a big tour, like an equatorial tour of the hot zone, and they just redid all of their VTOL jets with some like very cool styling. They're a freelancer. They work mostly for Elixir and for Show Nintendo. Yeah.
Okay. So I go in with a lot of flash, again, a lot of bluster, and I've already skill wired in because I get to start the game with 2 skill wires. I think I do enough driving that I have a skill soft for driving.
Okay, what's that? What is that skill soft based on? Is it like an initial D archive, or is it like just like a composite of every cool like action driving sequence?
Yeah, I think it's like a composite thing. I think it started off as like, I think a lot of the skill softs start as like 3D model rigging, or like what they call where people wear the weird suits with the points on them.
Like mocap.
Yeah, like mocap stuff, like 3D modeling of it, and it just kind of like feeds it back until your muscles start doing it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of media.
You're like a little bit Tetsuo, a little bit Paul Walker.
Yeah, totally. Like it's all there.
Yeah.
They accidentally put the movie Drive in there, so occasionally you just feel lots of feelings and are really quiet.
Or snap and stomp someone's head into paste.
Yeah, that's part of driving.
Yeah, no, I love, well, because the thing is that they would affect your, if it's a Show Nintendo skill wire, it would affect your personality too. It would like being a good driver isn't just about skill, it's about attitude, right? So like you find yourself like looking longer at leather jackets in stores than maybe you would have otherwise. You buy a pair of aviators for some reason. Like I definitely think that Show Nintendo, because of the cultishness of it,
they come with like a kit.
Yeah, their skill wire is slowly like, yeah, you want to be cool, you want to be a cool driver, you can be super kuru if you put this in your skill slot.
Super kuru.
Yeah. So yeah, like you've been slotting that for a while, and it's teaching you, making you a better driver.
Yeah, and obviously, like when I like pull up, it's like doing like a wheelie in and like a spin.
Oh yeah,
around
you can't park normally. You have to drift into the parking spot. Like it's you can't. Like there's no there are skill softs for driving like technically well, but this is not one of them. This is driving stylishly well. So yeah, you grind in, like slide sideways into the parking spot. Yeah. And then the municipal like parking clamps like come up out of the road, grab the wheels of your bike, and immediately start to drain the accounts of Flamingo. So I think like Flamingo, you get a notification wherever you are that your bike has been parked, and it's like the parking meter starts to tick up slowly. And so yeah, you go to the shop where Mitsubishi Semicolon and his gang of mechanics work and operate. And and so you want to get the bike like kitted out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Roll that style roll. Let's do the thing.
Okay, do I actually oh my god, my style's -1. Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
it's good.
I believe in you.
Yeah, 8.
Hey, there you go. You got an 8. Okay, all right. So you got to choose. Hit the street. 2 things from the list below. Where's the basic cost for this stuff?
Oh, it's under cred in gear. I had it up in just a second ago.
Okay.
Sorry,
okay, yeah, it's
on page 128 in the assets chapter. I don't know if the book and the PDF are the same page numbers.
Yep. Okay. So when you need to hit the street, if the price is fair, we use the price below. If they choose your request, it's going to cost you extra. It's double. So you want, you don't need a driver or muscle or street driver. I would say this costs 1 cred by default.
Yep, that seems fine. Okay, so it's going to attract unwanted attention, complications, or consequences.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to be driving around this like very, very distinctly rabbit-themed bike. And do we have time? What's the time frame on the
It's like 3 days.
So the only time frame that actually matters is when you decide to stop doing legwork.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but I think he says it's going to take extra time as one of the options, and we don't have that time. You said it was like 3 days.
Yeah, so it'll take some time to put together. Yeah, I think it depends. Like you would get it kind of right at the last minute. if you take some time to put together.
Yeah, like that's exactly the correct time to have something done.
Okay.
It'll take a bit longer, and it's going to attract unwanted attention.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So you go in, and yeah, Mitsubishi is they're working on. I imagine for the most part, the people in the shop are a kind of combination of like Harajuku, like teenage girl style, like all of them, no matter what their gender is, they dress like teenage girls. A combination of that, and then like some of the Krug heavy industrial stuff going on. So they're
Man,
like,
that's such an
Yeah, they have
awesome
these like massive
combination.
cyber arms for tightening things.
exactly,
Like,
yeah. So it's like Mitsubishi's like a pretty big person, shaved head, but yeah, like big obvious metal cyber arms. They all look like fighting game characters, really, from like some weird diesel punk Lolita fighting game.
Yes.
But when you come in, the AR, the ambient AR has been tweaked slightly, and you can hear like a group of people kind of like whistling in unison, and you look over and you can see that there's a limo, and it's being rekitted, like its shell has been removed, and they're installing bulletproof paneling, and the drones that are working on it, so they're flying, they're like moving around on the ground and stuff. The drones have been like AR'd to look like 7 dwarves. And their tools have been replaced with like pickaxes and stuff, and they're just like whistling and like hammering away on this car. And under that, you can see these like skeletal drones moving on tracks, replacing panels. But it looks like the 7 dwarves like are putting armor on this limo, and it's very like off-brand for Mitsubishi's shop.
Yeah.
It's happening off to one side. But yeah, you work out your deal with Mitsubishi. But somebody notices that you were here.
Probably the other Disney like job that's clearly going on.
Yeah, this is clearly like the armored limo right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The visit of a prime is a big deal. So, but yeah,
I will crack any armored limo. Let me at it.
Yep. Be easy. It's what you're about.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
looking forward to the action sequence.
So AR and physical modifications to make the bike appear like it's a white, like essentially a white rabbit skin for the bike. Now, how obviously like Alice-y do you want it to be? Like, does Mitsubishi have to buy or pirate some Disney Bezos code, or is it just like a stylistic homage?
It needs to be as.
See, here's where I think we actually want to drift away from the classic Disney stuff, because we want it to inspire curiosity. So it has to be this exotic thing,
yeah,
like other rabbit.
Yeah, so maybe less rabbit and more like hair. Like it's got kind of a like Watership Down kind of vibe, rather than like a fluffy bunny with a hat and a pocket watch.
But
yeah, less fluffy, more like hard lines and like the chemtrails, like neon trails or whatever. And like I mean, I've got to have like a matching like bike helmet that's like white, and then it's got like 2 kind of like mecha style antenna coming off as like long ears and stuff.
Yeah, I dig it.
It's super cool.
Cool. Yeah. So Mitsubishi knows not to ask questions, but they'll do the work for sure. They say that they're really really busy right now, like contract work, and they make it clear they're talking about this limo refitting, but they can have it ready for you soon.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. So you
It's not
won't
a blizzard soon, is it?
if it's not exactly what you're looking for when you get it, there won't be enough time to like do it again. So you have to trust that Mitsubishi's gonna like figure it out.
Yeah, we go way back.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't.
But we go way back. Mitsubishi semicolon, my best friend.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. So they get to work, and you head off and you're set for the bike. QQ, do you have legwork stuff you want to do?
So we have this idea of a route, right?
Yeah, I have the data,
Yep.
which I will have shared.
What would it look like for me to like set up an ambush? Like, would this be like
It's an assess probably.
yeah, okay. Which runs on
Edge.
Edge. And so I also have I've got my cyber eyes, which have a magnification function. And so I want to be scoping out the route by like walking around. Like I go shopping in that area, and I'm just like casing everything. I'm looking for any like hidden security stuff with my thermovision and stuff. Like
Can I be like going with you on this?
Yeah, I think maybe Cathode and I team up for this.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're like hunting around in this area, making sure that there's no like bullshit that we want to, you know, like we're buying off the cops. We're, you know, doing all the prep.
I think I have both Bee and Puppy Cat, and Puppy Cat is using sonar to try and find like any like hidden like building areas that you can't just like see. And then Bee is just like doing the aerial like information of the path and like mapping it out and sending that information like into our AR.
Where the gas lines run really close underneath the road in case you need to like blow a vent or something.
Yeah. And then what were you said? Oh, okay. What were you saying something about?
And then I'm looking for like good ambush points, and you know, where there's any security, like if people have their own security for their storefronts and stuff, we don't want that getting involved. So pick up spot that doesn't have like a bunch of other random stuff that would
you don't want to do it outside the high-end jewelry store.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, they're robbing our jewelry store, we need to send our attack drones after them and shit. Like none of that.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the route here. So it'll be secure airport terminal. So arrival from Anaheim, from the Magic Kingdom, and then Disney Resort Hotel / embassy, and then there's a visit to the Disney store, Oslo, in the Osloplex, and then probably a second one in Copenhagen. What would be called like the Copenhagen sector? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, these are all like the equivalent of neighborhoods.
Yeah, neighborhoods. Yeah. So 2 of those visits, and then there's like an unlisted location. Like this is it's not so much, and this is part of what you figured out, Flamingo, from the like information that you had. They're scheduled for an event that isn't. It's an unlisted location. There's just a gap in time that isn't transit time, and isn't, there's like transit, and then a gap. There's like about an hour in the middle.
I have the schedule. So.
You have the schedule, yeah. So an unlisted location, and then it'd be back to the hotel, embassy. She's only here for like a 24-hour period, and then flight out to Anaheim.
I want to have tried to contact my if I knew an Alice like hanger on and see if they like if there's any local Alice people that are going to be like hanging out here with the Alice, and if they have any like information about that,
like high profile Alice fans.
Yeah, so let's let QQ
but I just
cop
like
this role
I wanted
first.
to mention before I
yeah, I mean y'all get to do as much as you want, but the legwork clock is half full.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So QQ, you and Cathode go shopping. Shopping. And I think definitely like, are you you're following the route, right? So you can't really get that close to the airport. And the resort,
we're not messing around with any of those.
Yeah, and the resort hotel and embassy is full, but you can visit the Oslo and Copenhagen Plex neighborhoods, no problem. And they both have Disney stores. And definitely,
and it's like the area around there that they would have to travel through to try to find a good spot.
Yeah, and the AR sphere around the Disney store is always like themed, like they have heavy AR, but they've created like a viral and viral not in the like it's a computer virus sense, but viral in the social media sense. They've created viral memes that spread out from the store. So even like when you walk into the Plex, maybe you notice like the Cheshire Cat like grin out of the peripheral vision. You look and it's gone.
Trying to like guide you towards the Disney store.
Exactly. Yeah, you're being pathfindered into that space.
I feel like if we get close to the Disney store, there would be like people who would like recognize me and be like, "Oh shit, like that's Kathy. Like let's take a picture of this fallen like Disney streamer." Like, and it's kind of like there's a little bit of a moment of like, "Oh god, like this is gonna be on forums and they're gonna know that I was here."
Well, and that's the thing is, even though it's in a few days, there are people like already kind of buying and creating their own little fan events. So I think you're walking through the food court, and the whole food cart has been AR repurposed like by a flash mob. So everybody has little AR top hats, and they're drinking tea, and like it's been overlaid in a kind of like and like a fan event. And Disney, they're like Disney Base is all about this like stream fan events. You see more people with Tinkerbells around, and yeah, there's definitely that happening. And this is true in both the Oslo and Copenhagen Plex. So why don't you roll your assess for me, QQ, and Cathode, you can roll to help if you want, or if QQ needs.
I don't think I have any links with QQ.
You can roll without any links.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look up if I get a bonus for having my cyber eyes have some relevant shit. But
I think they're just fictional positioning.
yeah, they're just
fictional positioning.
when your enhanced sense sight helps, you may roll synth for assess.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
So
synth it up.
yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting contrast between Cathode's vision of the world, right, where Cathode is seeing all of the branding and like the various multi-layered AR stuff, and then we switch over to QQ and your fucking Terminator vision, where you're like seeing people's vital signs and stuff, and like
AR.
yeah,
I have like all my AR turned off, and I'm looking at the actual like physical space and trying to figure stuff out.
yeah. So,
I have it turned way down. It's at like 10% opacity, so I can tell if that there is AR stuff. It's really faint. Roll synth. Click the thing.
yeah,
It's not rolling. Oh, here we go. I have 0 forward.
yes.
There we go.
Nice. You got 12. All right.
That's 3 questions. Yay.
Cool.
Sorry, what page are the questions on?
They're in the handouts. You can just pop the handouts.
Cool.
They're on basic moves.
How convenient. Thanks, Adam. You're the best MC.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm on a laptop, so it's like
That's what
extra.
I am for, being convenient.
Okay, so what potential complications do I need to be wary of?
Collateral damage. There are going to be people, not just red suit. Like it's not like she's a CEO that people will ignore. She's going to be swarmed by people basically all the time. And if any of these like hyper fans find out her route or where she's going to be, that's going to get compromised too. And not in the sense that you can't do it, but like, you know, explosions cause damage and there will be people around.
Yeah, I will murder a lot of people unnecessarily. All right. Okay. Well, how is their route vulnerable to me?
Well, they're relying on the fact that you don't know what it is, not so much the fact that like it's an armored car or something.
Okay.
Like they're operating under stealth, right? They're like, we're just gonna have this secret route, and no one will know what it is, and that way we can fly under the radar. They're definitely going for a stealth approach between locations because they're predominantly worried about being mobbed by fans, not by being hit by operatives.
Well then, where can I gain the most advantage? So like, what is the point where I'm gonna like zip line down from the rooftop and murder all the guards?
Well,
yes.
So you're looking for like the place of least resistance for that?
Yeah, where they'll be least able to defend themselves. Like some awkward like blind corner or something where I can, take out half of the guards before the other half can react or deal with me, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So Alice is afforded certain periods throughout the day in like 10-minute chunks of like alone time. And this just means that security they move their perimeter out and they leave her basically with like her own imagination in a room. They're just like, all right, you get your 10 minutes of alone time before you have to go do this thing. And it looks like the biggest block of that is at the end of the Copenhagen Tea Party. She has a full like half hour of like alone time where the perimeter will be like extended out to give her some space. So that would be when you want to hit her. She'll be in the like guest quarters in the in the Disney store in Copenhagen, and before they move her, like during that alone time, that'd be when you want to hit, because you'll only have to hit like a few of the security guards rather than all of them.
Yeah, and this is me like with the schedule like floating in my AR and being like, okay, they're going to be here, and I'm like in that space looking around, and yeah, I'm doing my own little cross-referencing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, great. Thank you very much. So I like buy some chintzy crap at the Disney store to justify my being there.
Yep.
Can I have run into my Alice contact at the mall?
Yeah, I mean, you can
Like
you can
they're
have
already like there.
There
Yeah.
are other Alice's there in promotion leading up to the
yeah,
Alice.
you could have already arranged this too.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's grab another break. We're getting into it. So let's grab a break here. We can do that one other move. You can decide if you want to keep doing legwork, and then we can maybe move on to the action phase. So cool. All right. Stick around. We will be right back with more of Roll20 Presents The Sprawl right after this.